I'm Alicia Verwee, and you're at EDGEucating, where we're keeping you on the cutting edge of education. Today's topic is all about starting your year off right with a work-life balance. Yes, you heard me right. Work-life balance. Teachers are some of the hardest working professionals that I know, and so of course we tend to have that problem with keeping work-life in balance, right? And today, my goal is to keep you on the cutting edge of education by giving you some great life hacks to reduce your stress during your workday. So stick around. Don't forget, guys, to subscribe to our channel, and be sure that if you like this video, that you also like it and share it with someone else that you think could benefit with some work-life balance in their life. So we're going to jump right in and get started. Stay tuned. Work-life balance is what every teacher strives for, but how do you achieve it? That's always the question. So in this video, that's what we're going to talk about today, is how you go about achieving a good work-life balance as a teacher. So tip number one in our work-life balance rules is make a plan for every planning period. Yes, you know what hours and what time slots you have throughout the day that are your planning times or your down times that are scheduled into your workday. These are times where you should be maximizing what you need to get done. And if you have a plan, that is exactly how you will maximize that time to the best of your benefit. What I mean by that is, for instance, on Mondays, maybe this is your parent-teacher meeting day. So you know that your planning periods on Monday are set for your parent-teacher conference. Tuesdays, maybe you do your planning for the next week. And then Wednesdays, maybe you have that for making the copies that go with the plans. And then you need a day to create your answer keys. And then maybe you have Thursday or Friday toward the end of the week, your planning time is set for grading. This will help you really truly maximize those time slots within the day. Now, in addition to your planning periods, you need to make sure that those down times are planned as well. What do I mean by that? Well, you know, you've usually got those few minutes in the mornings before your students come in, and then maybe that, 20 to 45 minutes, depending on how your school is set up, at the very end of the day before it's time for the teachers to go home, but the students have already gone home. Maximize those time slots. So what I mean by this is I use my last few minutes of the day, I really schedule that for, I know I've got to change things on my board, I have to revise the date, I need to put up my new outcomes, I need to make sure that computers get wiped down and put on the chargers. Those routine tasks are what I do at the very end of my day. So that way I know when I walk in the next morning, because I always have morning duty, which means I don't walk in much before my students, I know that I've got to be ready to roll that afternoon when I leave. So I make sure that all of those little things get done. I also try to be sure that I leave 15 to 20 minutes of that time that is purposefully not planned, that I'm going to have left. Because you know, as a teacher, there's always that student you need to write up for the counselor. Or there is that parent you've got to call because Johnny just did something really crazy today and we got to talk to mom about that. So know that you're going to have to deal with those unexpecteds that came up throughout the day, and be sure that that is time that's also planned into your schedule. And then if nothing happens, hey, you get an extra cup of coffee for today. But make sure that those planning times are planned. That is key to maximizing your time during your work day. Number two, the second thing we're going to talk about today is arriving early. And I know that most of you are going, no, don't say that. I get up early enough already. I understand, but guys, getting to work that extra 15 minutes or so early in the morning to really just make sure that you can walk in your class without students and that you have yourself together for the day, pulling out, this is what I'm teaching today, look at what you have planned. It really makes for a much less stressful day. And we all know that if we start out stressed, that pattern just kind of continues and escalates throughout the day. So the key to that is to reduce that as much as possible and set yourself up for a day that isn't going to be stressful. And you would be very, very surprised how much that extra 15 or 20 minutes can do for you. So try it out. If you're really opposed to it, try it for a week, see how it works out for you. I think you'll really find it helps. Okay, number 3. This is going to be a toughie, especially for those of you perfectionists out there. If you're like myself, you have to accept that you will not get everything done. This is a profession that you have to know. It's kind of like the laundry, guys. It's never done. As soon as you wash, somebody's taking something else off, right? So you got more laundry to do. It's the same thing in education. Our jobs are never done. You will never walk out and be completely finished with everything. So you must accept that if you're going to have a good work-life balance. This is crucial. So if this is something you struggle with, really make this your focus. I will tell you from experience that you will drive yourself crazy if you try to get it all done. It took me several years to figure this out as a teacher, but you just have to be willing to step away and come back to it tomorrow. Number 4. Okay, some of you are going to struggle with this one. Get organized. Organization is key to being a stress-free teacher with a good work-life balance. So find a system that works for you. Everybody can find a system. Your system may not look like somebody else's system, and that's perfectly okay, but you need a system. Get organized, get your routine down. Whatever that routine and that structure is, you need to know it. This is going to maximize that time. This is going to make sure that when you're looking for stuff, you know where it's at. You're not wasting that class time, and you're not wasting that planning time or that meeting time or anything else that is going to then roll over into some of that lifetime that you want outside of work. So make sure you get organized. Number 5 is the one that most teachers, I find, struggle with the most, including myself. We have to take time for ourselves. We put everybody before us. We all tend to be service-oriented individuals, which is what called us to teaching in the first place. The problem with that is, due to our jobs, we tend to let everything else suffer, including ourselves. And guys, you really have to understand that if you are not your best self, you can't be the best teacher you need to for your students. So this is really crucial, and we put it on the back burner, and it is probably one of the most important of the tips I'm going to give you today. So make sure that you at least once a week take time for yourself. It may be that you sit on the couch and you veg out for your favorite TV series, and you do that once a week on whatever day your show comes on. It may be that you go out once a week with your girlfriends. It doesn't matter what it is, how small or how large that event is, as long as it's something you truly enjoy doing and that you don't think about work and you don't deal with work, and it's all about you. Not your family, not your own personal kids, not your husband, but you. It needs to be about you. So you need that time carved out for yourself in order to have a good mental health state so that you can take care of all those other people in your life, including our students at school and our families at home. This is a good work-life balance. It includes you as part of the equation, so don't forget that. That's number 5. Take care of yourself. Okay, number 6. We're going to say this, and don't shoot me. Leave work at work. And I know you're saying, I can't do that. I can't do that, Alicia. How do you expect me to leave it at work? It's never going to get done. Newsflash, even if you bring it home, it's never all going to get done. Remember, we talked about this back in one of those previous steps. So go back and take a look, but you need to leave work at work. Think about most people and the kind of jobs they have. They don't bring work home. It stays at the office. And this is really what you have to do as a teacher, or you're going to find yourself working 24/7, and then you're not going to be any good or the best self you can be for anybody. So you need to leave work at work. Make sure that you spend time doing what you need to do there. If you really have something that you feel like you just can't get done, then stay that extra 30 minutes or that extra 45 minutes at work and get it done at work. And then leave it at work. Don't bring it home. That's not the solution. Because then that grading, you end up doing in front of the television, and instead of 30 minutes, it takes you 3 hours. And then it becomes consuming, and it feels like all you've done is grade papers. The other thing we're bad about doing is we spend our whole weekends planning for the next week. This is also not good, guys. You have no separation between work and home. This is critical for your mental state. Be sure to leave that work at work. Number 7 is build your team and count on your team. We as teachers sometimes are bad about feeling like we don't want to bother other people. Again, we're that service-oriented type of personality. And with that tends to come, I need to bear the weight of the world. I can take care of everybody else and myself, and I don't need any help. You need help. You need help. We all need help. So, if you will maximize your teammates, do planning with other teachers. And guys, if you're the only teacher at your school, that's what I am. There's no other gifted teacher in our school. I'm the only one and have been for years. So I really have to reach out to those within my district, and I work with other teachers in my district. I've even worked with teachers in other districts to plan different units. Split it up, take on different parts and pieces of that planning, and it makes everybody's life easier. This is the way to go. Also, make sure you're working smart and using the resources that are out there, and don't try to reinvent the wheel all the time. Sometimes coming up with your own ideas and your own plans that aren't already existent are great, but you don't need to do that all the time. You need to know where that balance is as well. This will really help you work with your team. That team, that's also part of it, is people who've already created the wheel. That's part of your team. So teacher pay teachers, those other resources that are pre-created that are out there, and there's lots of them. Look at them, check them out. Use those to your advantage. So again, build a team and count on that team. That's number 7 in my tips for you. Number 8, invest in yourself. This is where I'm going to talk about professional development. Don't skimp on your professional development. Seek out your own professional development. Don't wait for it to be handed to you. And the reason I say that is if you seek it out, it's going to be something you're really interested in, and it's going to be something you're motivated to do. We all have to do PD, so make it count. And in addition to that, if you pick the professional development that you enjoy and that you're excited to go to, that piques your motivation. And when you get motivated, you then bring that motivation back into your classroom, which makes you a better teacher. So remember, you really do need to care about your professional development. Don't look at it as a chore. Look at it as that break from the classroom that you need to motivate yourself. And make it be something that you truly are motivated to do. And then bring that back to your students. Bring that enthusiasm. Bring that fun for learning that you just re-experienced back to them. So again, invest in yourself. Choose PD and choose it wisely. Pick something that's going to motivate you. And then take that motivation and bring it back to your students. That's number 8. The next one, number 9, keep office hours. And you're going, what? How do I keep office hours? That's not something we can do as teachers. Yes, it is. Now, we can't do like a professor in college. If you're in the K-12 classroom, that typically is not going to work. Some teachers do have a set time every day that you can say this is your office hours. Some of us don't. For instance, I have a different schedule every day, so having office hours can be difficult in that sense. Although I do keep office hours. And I had to learn this the hard way as well. What I mean by that is we tend to say, email me, send me a remind message, text me. We want to be accessible. We want to be available to our students, to our parents. However, guys, you need limitations. Set the time that you turn off. If that's 8 o'clock at night and you turn it off and you don't look at it again till the morning, If you put restrictions, make sure you think about that family time. Don't answer your phone during the middle of a meal. Don't get up and check an email or respond to a parent when you're supposed to be spending time with your own family. They have time with their families, you're entitled to time with your families, and you are not falling short on your responsibility to them by doing it. So don't feel guilty. So set those office hours, whatever they are for you, and stick to it. Now, if you want to be really accessible in the afternoons, maybe you set that hour or hour and a half window that your parents know. If you need to reach me after hours, I am available from 6:30 until 8. Give them something to strive for. But you do need office hours and you do need that shut-off time. So make sure you set those limits for yourself. Number 10 on today's list is use technology, but use it to work smarter. We all hear about using technology, and if you know me and you followed me at all, I'm all about the tech. I love it. However, it has a time and a place, and it has a way in which we need to be using it. Just checking a box and saying I'm using technology isn't enough, guys. That's not going to cut it, and it's really useless if that's what you're doing it for. So what you want to do is really seek out those forms of technology that are going to do the most for you, and make sure that it's making your effective teaching, whether it be in the classroom or whether it be for yourself. And today we're talking about work-life balance. So the way I want to talk about technology with this one is, how does it help you as a teacher? You need to work smarter, and there's a lot of programs out there that are going to help you do this. And there's several that you can check out in some articles that I have for you. So if you're interested, I've linked these articles down below. It's 10 technology skills that every educator needs to succeed. That's a great one. I've got 5 free mobile messaging apps for education. 10 distance learning tools for 2020. Those are great as well if you're looking for some great programs that don't take as much planning for you to implement, but are still going to give you some great resources where you're not skimping on giving your students what they need. And the top 10 most productive Chrome extensions for teachers in 2020 is also one of my favorites that I have for you. So these are some you're going to want to check out if you're looking for that and you're saying, okay, what do you mean by that? Look at things like Google Forms and self-grading options. There's a lot of programs out there. If some of you are using things like Nearpod, they also have things that are going to self-grade. There are tons and tons and tons of these things out there. Find what works for you in your classroom and don't spend as much time grading and that sort of thing. Even the writing teachers, guys, and one of these I talk about, Quill. It's a great program for doing a little bit of writing with your students and having a way for that to be scored as well so that you don't have to sit and manually do all of that. I'm not telling you not to do any manual grading. Don't misunderstand me. You need to be in touch with your students and you need to be involved. However, you don't have to physically grade everything. You can give them things that are self-graded that's going to cut down on that grading time and let you work smarter rather than harder. So make sure that you check out. I have all of those linked in the comments below so that you can check those out and get you some great resources to work smarter instead of harder. So again, using technology to work smarter, that's number 10. Number 11. This is difficult, guys. This is one that goes against our nature as service-oriented people. But we have to learn how to say no. N-O. No. This was a tough one for me. And I found out very quickly that I was involved in too many things. And I was trying to spread myself too thin. And again, this doesn't help anyone. So you need to learn how to say no. Now, I know that's easier said than done. So I'm going to give you a few suggestions. The first thing that I'm going to tell you, and I recently heard this and it was simple yet profound. No is a complete sentence. Yeah, you heard me. You can just say no. And what I mean by that is we often feel the need to over-explain our responses. We feel like we have to justify why we're saying no. You can just say no. If you're someone that just needs that explanation and you can't just say no, then try saying, I just can't help with that right now, but please check with me next time you need, you fill in the blank with whatever it is that they're asking. Now, if you use that phrase, make sure that it is really something you want to help with next time, because otherwise you're just going to continuously put yourself in a situation that's uncomfortable for you and you have to continue to say no. So if that is something you wish you could do, but maybe right now your time is not allowing it, then use that phrase. If you're just not interested at all, then we need to go a different route. Again, you can always just say no, and that's fine too. But you can also say, I appreciate that you thought of me, but I'm just not interested. Thank you. You could also say, no, but thank you so much for thinking enough of me to ask. I appreciate that. So there's a couple of ways that you can say no, and I've given you some tools to do that. So feel free to use one of those. But you do need to know that you can say no and don't feel the need to have to say yes to everything. Number 12 on my tips is to keep that work-life balance, we need to take baby steps. So wherever you are right now, just take one baby step. Means don't try to do every one of these that I'm giving you all at the same time. Pick something that you know is your weakest area and improve in that area. And then once you've got that licked, pick another area and then do it again and repeat and repeat. Teachers, according to the Washington Post, work on average 53 hours a week. That's on average. So you've got those few that have learned to put that work-life balance in order, and then you've got all those that haven't. And even between those, we're still averaging 53 hours a week. Maybe you don't even know how many hours you average. That's a good place to start. That might help you put some things in perspective, is to start tracking your hours. And maybe you don't know what your weakest area is, so maybe that's not what you need to track, but you need to track how long grading is taking you or how long planning is taking you. So find the area in which you need to begin and take that first step. Don't try to conquer the world in a day. Do it little by little. So take those baby steps and give yourself that freedom to just gradually make progress. I tell my students all the time, we're not looking to be perfect, we're looking to make progress. And progress is what you need to make. If you're improving, that work-life balance is slowly going to improve. Even if it's not where you want it to be right away, it will get there. So take baby steps, number 12. Number 13 on my tips, give yourself a break. You're like, teachers, break? What do you mean? You have to schedule a break for yourself. So find when you can do that, and when you're setting up that plan that I told you to make in the beginning, plan out a break for yourself. This is crucial. Sometime throughout the day, you just need nothing to do. Now, that break for teachers is probably not going to look like the average 9 to 5ers break. You're not going to get a 30-minute lunch to yourself. Sorry, you're not going to get that time to sit and just do nothing for 30 minutes. However, you can realistically schedule a 10-minute break. At the most, maybe a 15-minute break somewhere. That time, although it doesn't sound like a lot, it is crucial throughout your day. Go get a soda. Eat that piece of chocolate. Get yourself another cup of coffee. I don't care what you do, just don't do work. You need the brain break. You need that to refresh yourself, and you will also find that you are more productive throughout the day because you know you have that little nugget of time to look forward to. So schedule yourself a break. Number 14 on my list. All too often we forget to celebrate our successes. Not just our students' successes, but your personal successes. Whether that be personal stuff in your life, whether that be something that's going on in your classroom that happened great, those things that your students are doing that are great, those things that your whole class did that was great. Now, hopefully your school has some sort of recognition program in place so that this is happening automatically in your building. However, if they don't and you're looking for a way to implement this, make sure and check out, I've linked it below, we have an article all about school climate and culture. So check out that article so that you can hopefully set up your own recognition program within your school or help your administrators do that if you guys don't have something in place. Because this is really crucial for students as well to be successful. Make sure that you are sharing. That might be that you go and share those successes with a co-teacher. You may just go to your principal and share it with your administrators in the office. It doesn't matter who that support system is that you're sharing it with, but share it. Maybe you're hanging something out in the hall so that everybody sees as they pass and then people are commenting. There's a ton of ways to do this, guys, but make sure you're sharing those successes. It is crucial to keep you motivated as a teacher. It keeps it in front of you. It makes you become more aware and present in that state of, hey, this awesome thing happened. Because we get so caught up in the things we need to do better as a teacher and things that aren't done yet and all the stresses of the days that we forget to really take time to cherish those awesome moments that happen. So slow down a little bit, find that way to connect and to share. Your students will thank you for it. They will also be more motivated if you're doing this with your students included and sharing their successes. You're going to get more overall out of your classroom. They're going to want to perform for you. They're going to want to perform for themselves. And in return, you get more successes as a teacher because they do better, right? So win-win for everybody. Share those successes. Now, last but most importantly, not least, number 15 is to understand that the only thing on your to-do list that is a must-do is to get through the day. And you're going, what? That's a tip? Yes. Don't beat yourself up, guys. As teachers, this should not be happening every day. If it is, you need to look at what you're doing wrong if you're feeling this way every single day. Then you need to implement some of these other things so that you have that work-life balance and you're not feeling this way. However, as a teacher, we are dealing with other individuals. Their personalities, their baggages that come from home, their life challenges, and we have to manage all of that. And some days, guys, all we can do is get through. Don't beat yourself up over that. When you have one of those days, know when it's time to check out. When the day is over and you've gotten through, pack up and go home. Don't take the work with you. Go home and relax. You need to mentally prepare for the next day. This way you're not getting into a vicious cycle where you're repeating that pattern of just getting through. But you need to recognize it when it happens and you need to handle it appropriately. So give yourself the freedom and know that you're not horrible at teaching. You just had a bad day and everybody has a bad day. So check the box, go home, put that day to bed and start fresh with a new day and give yourself the lead way to do that. And that, my friends, are your work-life balance life hacks from EDGEucating. We really hope that these will help you find that work-life balance and implement it in your life so that you become much less stressed and much more productive as a teacher. We want to make sure that you're notified every single time that we roll out one of these great videos for you guys. So make sure and hit that bell so that you're notified every time we roll out a video. In addition to that, folks, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We want to keep bringing you these great videos. Also, make sure that you hit that like button and be sure to share this video with anybody else that you think could utilize these life hacks to make their work-life balance a little better. Be sure and comment if you've got anything that you're using in your life or in your work that keeps that work-life balance going for you that maybe we didn't mention. We'd sure like to share that with the rest of the community. So be sure and drop that in the comments down below. We always love to hear from you here at EDGEucating. And guys, we can't wait to see you for our next video. So have a great one and happy teaching.